All right, proud to be joined at this time by Coach Stan Luttrell, the legend of strength and conditioning. Coach, we used to not be the old guys. What happened? We're now the
We just
old
kept
guys.
our head down and kept working, and here we are.
Used to be the young guru Stan Luttrell, but now the guy that these other guys all look up to, man. And I do mean that. You guys, you probably have a better reputation than you even recognize. As I go out and reach out to people to do these clinics, they're all disciples of something they learn from you, even if it's people you don't even know directly. And your name's coming up and all that. So I mean, it's not always great being the old guy, but that part's kind of cool. So really appreciate all you're doing, and I know you're doing a great job down there at Colquitt County. So let's get it done, Coach.
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for the kind words. It's very humbling to be one of the old guys and people to even give me any credit for anything. This is year 25 for me teaching and coaching. It's year 21 in Georgia, and there's lots of things as you can see on this slide of the senior international coach of USA Weightlifting, USAW lead instructor. I'm on the Georgia advisory board for the National High School Strength Coaches Association, co-founder of Team Georgia weightlifting with CJ Stockel. But one of the things that I didn't realize until recently is that I have coached at every level in the state of Georgia, from single A private all the way now to 7A Colquitt County. And one thing that I want to make sure to mention, that I mention this every time I get a chance, is that being at all those different levels, there are a lot of great coaches in the state of Georgia. And the only thing that I've noticed that's really different from being at single A all the way up through 7A is just the number of quality coaches on a staff and really the depth on the line of scrimmage. But having been in Georgia now 21 years, I'm very thankful to be a high school football coach and a strength and conditioning coach here in this state, because football matters here, and because football matters, the weight room matters. And that's what this presentation is really about, is how can I help give back to the football community and the strength and conditioning community in this state. So as I move forward, I would be remiss to not talk about my family. Team Luttrell, my wife and I will celebrate our 25th anniversary this March. And I want to encourage any young coach out there that maybe has one or two or three or more little ones running around, that there will be long days, but the years will fly by. And I just want to encourage you, if you're in that stage of parenting and coaching and just doing life one day at a time, to keep your head up and to keep working, because there will be long days, but the years will fly by. And this is a picture of my family here on the right, my wife, Kim, and our 5 children. This was actually the day that my son, Jack, signed at the University of Tennessee. And to kind of drive that point home, here's a really cool picture, I think, to give an example of Team Luttrell. Is up here at the top, you can see my oldest son, Trey. I believe he was 10 years old, lifting at a weightlifting meet, and that's now him as a picture playing quarterback at Carson Newman College. Then bottom left, my daughter Anna, when she was weightlifting, I believe she was 8 or 9 here. Now she's a senior at Clemson. She's a captain of the rowing team, getting married on June 1st. And then my son Jack, who just signed with Tennessee, I believe he was 6 or 7 at this age. And then he just started. We dropped him off at Tennessee a couple of weeks ago. And those are just my oldest 3. And now I am an old guy with 3 in college. I still have a 2 at home, Lindsey Joy, who made first team all region on a soccer team here at Colquitt last year in Region 1. And then my 11-year-old who's on the Olympic development team in soccer. So I just want to encourage everyone, as no matter what logo you're wearing on your shirt, don't forget about your team at home, because it will fly by. You'll blink your eyes and you'll be dropping them off at college too. And so I just want to encourage everybody to not forget about your team at home. Very thankful to be the strength coach and to coach football at Colquitt County. This is a sign in the hog pen that just sums up, Colquitt County Packer football. 1 national championship, 3 state championships, 4 state finalists, 8 state semifinalists, which we were a part of this year, and then 10 region championships, which we won this year too. It's just tradition in one picture is right there. And it's been a year now since we moved to Colquitt, and we're just thankful to be a part of this community and this town and this football program. Today, my topic is building the clean. We talk about the brotherhood, energy, effort, and execution, fast, focused, and physical is Coach Calhoun's motto for our football program, and we want to embrace that in everything we do, including in the weight room. So I want to talk a little bit about my philosophy and then get into talking about how we teach the clean and different things we do with the clean. First of all, is my pyramid of performance. I got this several years ago, and basically, the wider the base, the higher the pyramid. So we have a big, wide base of strength, power, movement with some flexibility on the side. And I believe that the skills and the conditioning for sport are different. For every sport is different, and those can be handled by the sport coach, right? But that strength, power, movement, and flexibility has to be handled in the weight room. And I believe that all these things tie together. As you can see, the George Allen quote at the bottom is winning is the science of total preparation. Well, total preparation is all these things put together. Where people get in trouble is when they flip the pyramid and try to live on the skills of the sport and just on conditioning without having that base. And that's where injury happens. And that's where we get in trouble. And as sport coaches, they want to coach what they know, all right, without really caring about the weight room. So we really got to make the weight room important, and the weight room guy and the sport coach have to work together. This is a picture of my long-term athletic development from phase 1 all the way through phase 5. One of the things that I've developed through the years is my Learn to Lift program, which I will show you in a second. And we transition systematically through my program from learn to lift to learn to train, train to train, and then train to compete. And then ultimately, when they're done playing football, they can train for life. So it's very important that we don't skip any of these stages for us to get the most out of our kids and give ourselves an opportunity to play for championships. This is a big picture of the Learn to Lift. This goes, anyone who comes through my weight room is going to learn how to lift and learn my language. Just briefly from the left, there's 3 stances in weightlifting: the jump stance, squat stance, and split stance. We teach people how to squat. Believe that you have to have your chest up, knees out, crease of the hip below the knee, all right, is how low we squat. We're not squatting to 90 degrees or parallel or anything less than putting our hips below our knees. And then the split stance, which is something I'll show you with the split clean later, is one of the most athletic stances that we use in the weight room that a lot of people don't do. So hopefully people will be able to take something away from that. There are 3 squats. I know there are more than 3, but there are 3 that we primarily focus on in my program, which is the overhead squat. The front squat is the staple because it's the receiving position for the clean. And then, of course, once they're ready, depending on the group as to how long they have to wait to be able to back squat, there's 3 positions: the high hang, the hang, and the floor that we really focus on. And I'll show you all 3 of those as we get into it. But my teaching progression is a top-down progression, and that really focuses on the fundamentals. Why the clean? To me, the clean is the most important exercise in the weight room. There's lots of people that would talk about the squat being the most important or a different exercise, but to me, the most bang for the buck that you get in the weight room is with the clean, right? And so just clicking through this, the clean improves strength, power, and mobility. It is ground-based, multi-joint, and functional. Develops functional core strength and stability. It enhances the mobility in the ankles, hips, spine, and wrist, and the shoulders. Receiving the clean in proper position promotes functional stability and deceleration. A lot of people want to talk about deceleration nowadays. Well, if you receive the clean in the bottom of a squat, the bottom of the front squat, you are going to work on deceleration. You're going to work on combating an external force, right, and decelerate that just like we do in football. And this helps with injury prevention. It increases jumping ability and short sprinting performance, increases neural adaptations and rate of force development, big topics now with velocity-based training coming out, motor unit recruitment, and synchronization of motor units. So how your body has to work together to perform a clean is similar to how it's going to have to work together to perform a tackle, perform a block, or just anything really that we do on the football field. Promotes full range of motion while also improving balance, coordination, and kinesthetic awareness. So we can get all of that from just one exercise. That's one of the reasons, or several reasons, why it's so good. I have a process to my teaching. Nowadays with the internet, kids and coaches, they can go online, they can punch something in YouTube and get 1,000 different things. The way that I teach things is that this is the right way. And I try to be a simple guy, because simple is understandable and simple works. Too many people want to make things too complicated. And one of the things that I think a great coach does is makes things that are really complicated simple. And so that's how I use my learn to lift in my teaching process. So I teach my students and my players that anything other than the right way is wrong. And so I don't have to tell them everything that's wrong. I just have to tell them the right way. Just like anything other than the truth is a lie, anything other than the right way is the wrong way, right? I make a living on fundamentals. I'm a fundamental coach, whether we're in the weight room or on the grass. I think little things make big things happen, right? And you can see, week in and week out, whether it's Friday night, Saturday, or Sunday, that fundamentals win, and lack of fundamentals also lose. And so we make a big deal about fundamentals in the weight room, right? And then I think if it's important to you, you got to do it every day. The 10-year, 10,000 rep rule. All right, our base progression is broken down into movements, and then our top-down progression. So the movements we're going to teach are shrugs, high pulls, power, and power to front squat, and then the full lift. And I'll explain those more in depth in a minute. And then our top-down is from the high hang to the low hang, which is below the knee, simulating the floor, the starting stance, and then the floor. And you're right away, people are like, man, you break the clean down to that specific. Absolutely. And if I teach them everything that we're going to talk about in a minute from the get-go, then they can see how it all ties together and how it works together. All right, there are three main components: starting positions, pulls, and receiving positions. Our starting positions, number one is the high hang. Number two is the tall position, or the extended. Everybody wants to talk about the Olympic list, specifically the clean, getting triple extension, right? We will work that position as a starting position. The hang, which is the top of the knee, and the floor, which is below the knee or on the floor. All right, I have some videos here. I want to, again, shout out to Trey. This is my oldest son. He is playing quarterback at Carson Newman. Right, he's probably one of the few quarterbacks in the nation that can clean over 400 pounds, right? So I'm really excited about him in this upcoming year, right? But he is going to demo this high hang position, right? This video you can see is really short, but you can see right away that his feet are flat, his knees are bent, his arms are straight, and his shoulders are in line with the bar. The tall position is you get to a triple extended position, right? His arms are still straight, his shoulders are in his ears, right? And you can see that bar is going straight up. As the video pauses here, you can see he has extension in his ankles, knees, and hips, and he is starting to shrug the bar up. That is the tall position. The hang, people have a really hard time, I think, getting into this position. The hip hinge is what a lot of people call it, but you can see that Trey's knees are bent, right? His back is flat. When he pauses at the top of the knee here, you can see, go back, you can see that, sorry. I'm gonna pause the video. Right there, you can see that his shoulders are in front of the bar, and you should also be able to see that his shins are vertical. So two big coaching points that we use to get to a proper hang position is that my shoulders are in front of the bar and that my shins are vertical. So we talk about tilting to the hang, so pushing your hips back, shoulders in front of the bar, vertical shins. Also notice that his feet are still flat, okay? That is a great hang position. This is the position that a lot of people don't get to. A lot of people want to squat to the hang instead of tilt to the hang. You aren't activating the correct muscles unless you get to this position right here. Right, then we go to the floor. You can see Trey is addressing the bar, jump stance, clean grip, chest up, hips down, tight back, right? You can, and I will pause this one again so you can see that position, right? I teach a routine when we address the bar, you know, right there is a perfect position. If you also notice here, his shoulders are in line with the bar. He has a clean grip. His feet are flat. His hips are halfway between his knees and his shoulders, depending on femur length, and torso length will determine how high or how low his hips are. Most Americans, it's halfway above the knee, between the shoulders. All right. His back is flat. His eyes are in a conversational plane, and you can see this routine. I'm going to teach this routine because I believe the key to excellence in the weight room is consistency. Right. So we can't just step to the bar and go all over the place. We have got to have a routine so that we can be consistent feet, consistent hands, consistent starting position, so that we'll be able to have a consistent lift. Right. The pulls, shrugs, high pulls, the second pull of the clean, and then the first pull of the clean. There are 3 pulls in weightlifting. We're going to talk about these pulls right now specifically and how we teach them. All right. The first is the shrug. Right. Notice here, Trey's right there is a really good picture. His arms are straight. His shoulders are in his ears. His eyes are in a conversational plane. Right. The only thing that I would teach, and Trey also competes in weightlifting, has won 4 national championships. Right. So he is still flat footed here. It is okay. It is okay if you're starting to come to your toes here, but this is a good shrug position. Okay. The high pulls. Now, a lot of people give me grief in the weightlifting world for teaching a high pull, because the high pull in when you actually do the lift is not something that actually happens. Okay. So the high pull for us is a warm-up exercise that actually reinforces the lifter's ability to keep the bar close. And you can see in this video, Trey, as he's keeping it close, is bringing his shirt up because the bar is so close. That's how close you want the bar. A lot of people, when they do this part of the clean, they skip this piece and end up doing a reverse curl. Okay. So let me point out, his elbows are up and over the bar. His eyes are still straight ahead in a conversational plane, and he keeps the bar close. The purpose of the high pull is to reinforce keeping the bar close and to work the upper back, and the muscles of the upper back in the clean. So just again, as he plays through this, right? And you'll see how this goes together in a minute. The scoop, this is a drill. Scoop is an old school term, but basically it's us working from the hang position to the high hang position. We start in the hang, we scoot to the high hang. I want you to notice that his arms are straight, right? He's not pulling this weight with his arms. He's pulling it with his hamstrings. And while he is scooping, his feet still remain flat. A lot of people premature come to the toes here, right? And so I want to reinforce the hang position, the pulling with the hamstrings, not the arms, to get back to the high hang position, and the feet remaining flat. And we'll actually do a scoop drill, and the scoop is the second pull. So as you watch Trey doing this, his eyes remain straight, his head's not going up or turning sideways. It's very important that we get that. Lift off. This is where a lot of lifts are missed, right? Here we're going to talk about our starting stance. Then we're going 2 inches off the floor, 4 inches off the floor, and then to the hang position, right? As he's doing this, I want you to notice his hips and shoulders are coming up together. It's not his hips, then his shoulders. All right, we talk a lot about pushing the floor away here to make our hips and shoulders come up together. Notice he's not coming around his knees. His knees are actually going back, which we'll do a drill in a minute called the pushback drill, right? And so the bar is actually coming to him, right? We talk about going through the knee on liftoff. We're not going around the knee. We're going through the knee, right? And so this is a simple drill as you're teaching this that you can always go back to, right? And talk about, remember on liftoff, strong flat back, hips and shoulders come up together. And this is a deal when kids get impatient, they will try to skip this. So then we go to a pushback drill. We work on our starting stance, our hips and shoulders are coming up together, we stay flat-footed, right? We're going through the knee to the hang. So instead of going 2 inches, 4 inches, we're going the first pull The first pull in weightlifting is actually from the floor to the knee. This is a really lightweight, obviously 135 pounds, right? But still, whether it's a lightweight like this or a PR, we want the bar to move the same. Right, receiving positions, power, split, and full, right? Before we talk about those, we have to make sure, and this is a topic that we always talk about with the clean, is people will say, well, what's a good front rack, and what do we do if they can't get in this position? All right, so first of all, we want to have a clean grip. We want to work towards having our whole hand on the bar. You can see right here, Trey's whole hand is on the bar. One place that people have a lot of problem with is they want to take a tight grip with their hands. To be able to get to this good front rack position, you have to be able to relax your hand and push your elbows up, right? If you can't do that, then the bar either won't rest on your shoulders in the correct place, which you can see the bar right here is resting in the crease. Always say we are created to squat. That's why that crease is there. And you want to make sure that you push your elbow up, right? So relax your hands, push your elbows up, right? Make sure that you have your eyes straight ahead in a conversational plane. I've mentioned that several times. All that means is that you're looking at yourself in the mirror. You're not looking up, you're not looking down, you're not looking to the right or to the left. Most people don't realize that our eyes and our hips are tied together. So if I look up, my hips are going to go too far forward. If I look down, my hips are going to stay back, and I'm not going to get triple extension. If I look to the left or the right, my hips are going to twist, right? So I want to look straight ahead and in a conversational plane. I have down here rack solutions. You know, what can we do if our kids are struggling to get into this rack position? Very first go-to is relax the hands. Second thing is you've got to stretch their lats. Most people want to say that they have a wrist issue, but most of the time it's more of a tight lat issue instead of a wrist issue. That doesn't mean that you don't stretch your wrist, but go to the lats, make sure they relax their hands, and that rack position will get better. So you want to force that position. I do believe in forced flexibility and that they will get better just by making them get in those positions. Don't ignore it. Don't compromise. Stick to your guns. Make sure that they get in that good rack position. It's very important that they have a good rack position to be able to do a great clean. Next is the power position, right? And this is a deal all across the state, probably all across the nation, especially with football, is that people talk about power cleaning, right? Understand, and this is straight from USA Weightlifting, power, when we say power clean, it means two things. One, and you can see Trey's feet are jumping and landing. He's going from his jump stance under his hips to his squat stance under his shoulders, right? So you have to jump and land, right? And then two, he's receiving the bar with his hips above his knees. That's what power clean means. When we say power, it is a variation of the clean, right? So we're still jumping and landing, we're still working our footwork, but we're receiving the bar with our hips above our knees. Most of the time when I say power, I'm using it to save their legs. I want those guys to catch it high, right? Or I want them to have to focus on finishing the pull more, right? But unless I say power, they better be receiving that bar in a full front squat position, right? So once again, watch Trey jump and land, watch him receive the bar, his feet land at the same time his elbows come up. That's that intermuscular coordination, right? The next one is a split stance, all right? And I love this. You're going to see this from me, right? The split, a lot of people think about the split, talking about the split jerk. Well, you can also do a split clean or a split snatch. Trey's given an example here of a high hang split, right? I love the splits because it gives us an athletic base. How many times in sport are we in this position where we're about to make a tackle? We think about an offensive lineman doing a kick slide. There's several positions in football, if you freeze frame it, that we are in a split stance. We're not in a normal squat stance, right? So I want you to see, and I'm going to pause this right here, right? And it's because this is so light, I'll show you again later. should have a vertical front shin, a bent back leg, and back heel up. He needs to get his split a little bit longer. Another thing you should see him doing is alternating his feet. All right. So in sport, we go to the right and the left. We have to make a tackle to the right and to the left. So we got to make sure anytime we're doing split lifts, we need to work in even numbers, 2s, 4s, and no more than 6s. Right. So vertical front shin, bent back leg, back heel out. Step up, front foot, back foot. We'll talk more about that in a minute. All right. The split lift is a great lift. A lot of old guys do this in weightlifting, but I think it should make a comeback in weight rooms. Right. Next is a full front squat. This is the receiving position. We're going to receive the lift in a full front squat. So we're jumping and landing, and now we're trying to receive it with my hips below my knees. Right. And you can see Trey's catching this a little bit high because it's so light. Notice the timing. Notice his elbows are up. His heels are down, his chest is up, his knees are out, and his elbows are up. Right. That is a full front squat. So again, so he's coming off the floor. So I would just call this a clean. If I just said clean, this is what we get. It's starting on the floor and we receive it in the bottom in a full front squat position. Big fast elbows is one of my cues. Never want your elbows to come close to your knees. All right. Now, once we've taught all of this, we do a specific warm-up or a bar warm-up. And Trey's going to do this. Basically, this is 5 exercises that we do 3 reps each. So we do 3 shrugs, 3 high pulls, 3 tall powers. Think about everything that I just talked about. 3 front squats, reinforcing the receiving position, and then 3 hang cleans. So hang means we're starting at the top of the knee, and then clean means I'm receiving it in a full front squat. In our weight room, we do this every single day, all right? We do a general warm-up, and then we do a specific warm-up. All this does is this reinforces our Learn to Lift program every day. So we're working all of the pieces to the clean, and while we're also warming the body up, getting it ready to lift. That is our specific warm-up. All right, so now I can take this chart, everything that I just showed you, and now I want to put things together for clean complexes. When I talk about building the clean, you can really combine any of these that you want together. We combine them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're going to do some sort of complex, whether it's with different starting positions or different pulls or different receiving positions. It's really up to your creativity and also what you're looking for to what your team may be missing, right? So all I'm doing right here is I'm going to give you some examples of complexes, right? And we're going to click through these, show them one time, and then go. So this is a high hang pull, a hang power, and then a clean from the floor. So a high hang pull, a hang power clean, and then a clean from the floor. Again, you can see high hang is the starting position. You see Trey get to a good hang position and then catch it high. He moves his feet, then goes back to the floor and does a full clean. Next is a 3-position pull. So now we're just working on pulls. So 3-position, you can start at the top and go down, or you can start at the bottom and go up. Here we're starting at the top and go down. So I do a pull from the high hang, a pull from the hang, and then a pull from the floor. Really good on working the 3 positions of our progression, okay? So high hang to the floor. Most people go top down because it's natural. You can also, as a variation, go from the bottom up, all right? Now, 2 pulls plus a clean, okay? 2 pulls plus a clean. I'm gonna do 2 pulls from the floor, and notice, since I said pull, our arms aren't bending, we're putting our shoulders in our ears, and then we go to a full clean, okay? Most people really struggle with the pull piece, finishing the pull, especially on the clean, so that's a good example of that. Now, with this complex, we're gonna do a pushback drill. Remember from the lift off, a pull from the floor. So if they're rushing the pull, right? This is a really good drill, that push back and then a pull and then a clean, right? Let's watch it again. Push back drill, back to the floor, a pull from the floor through the knee to the hip, violent jump shrug, and then a clean from the floor, right? It really helps our guys emphasize the pull and be able to finish the lift correctly. Next, a 3-position clean. I showed you a 3-position pull. Now we're going to clean it from each position. Now, since I said clean, that means that we're receiving it in a full front squat position. Now, the third pull in weightlifting, there are 3 pulls in weightlifting, right, is pulling yourself under the bar, all right? And so this, I really love this. I really love this to work on that, because especially from the high hang, because you have to go fast to pull yourself under. So notice he's not going to the high pull. And I said earlier, the high pull doesn't actually happen. The shrug initiates the pull under, and the third pull in weightlifting is actually pulling yourself down and around the bar to that full front squat position. All right, now a pull from the floor, a clean from the floor, and now we're going to throw in an extra front squat. So maybe they're struggling with that front squat position or getting that front rack position. That's where we're going to add a squat. You know, another thing you can do is you can make them hold the bottom of the clean, right? Hold that front squat position. There's so many things and variations that you can do just to, you know, to grease the groove, to make sure that they're going through each of these positions. Right, now let's go to the split clean. This is the first time I've showed you these blocks. I love these blocks. CJ Stockel years ago put me on these blocks. These blocks right here, and I'm going to pause it. These blocks reinforce that perfect hang position. So you can see where Trey has vertical front shin. His shoulders are vertical shins. His shoulders are in front of the bar. His arms are straight. We have the lips on these blocks. They literally walk as far as they can forward, then reach down and grab the bar. And that makes them push their hips back, have vertical shins and straight arms. This is a perfect hang position. All right. And now I don't have to stress the back to get to that position. Now I'm starting on the blocks. All right. So that being said, now watch Trey do this complex. This is a great complex where we're going to do left foot forward, right foot forward. So you finish the pull and then go to the split and then put it together and do a full clean. So left foot forward, right foot forward, and then do a full clean, right? This is a great lift. You have to be athletic to be able to do this. And I'm gonna see if I can pause this again. The key on the splits, that is, so you can see right there, right? Even though this is such lightweight, only 135 pounds, look how explosive Trey is. He has already started the pull under to the split. So this is a little bit late, but he has gone to full extension. And when he's pulling under now, his feet are already starting to move. And then watch his feet land, right? And so he's decelerated himself into this split stance. It's really good. If there's one thing you take away from this, I hope that you learn to do split cleans, especially if you can do them off blocks, right? So just watch the jumping and landing is specific. This is our primary unilateral movement. And I have some variations of this that I didn't put on here, right? And there's always, in my mind, I'm always trying to figure out ways to incorporate the clean better. I think, notice the violent double uppercut with the elbows, reinforced tackling. Show you one more time. Again, this is a really good complex because it works the split as well as the full. Watch the footwork. He's got to move his feet front to back, and then he's got to move his feet jump to squat. And the timing of this movement, this is high level, especially when you get a little bit more weight on the bar, right? Trey didn't grow up doing split cleans. I wish I didn't come to these until later, but it's a great exercise, right? Right. And finally, this last one is we're going to do a pull off the blocks, a high pull off the blocks, and then a full clean, right? And these are just 8 examples. You know, it's really up to your imagination and what you see your players are struggling with. So there's the pull, now the high pull, elbows up and over the bar, right? And then now the clean, right? You'll see he never gets to that high pull because he is pulling himself under the bar. We'll watch it one more time. So pull, high pull, and then a full clean. See Trey setting his back, pull, high pull, really getting that elbows, keeping the bar close. You see his shirt come up a little bit as he's going there, and then the speed under the bar. All right, good, complex. All right, next, let's talk about just how do we program this. You know, I'm a 4-week block periodization guy. We typically, the core of our program, this isn't the only things we do, but the core of our program is we're going to do a clean complex, a clean pull or clean pull variation complex, front squat every which way but loose on front squats, and every bench press variation that you can think of. Right? Some other details. We're on an 85-minute 4-block schedule. I've been on every schedule in my 25 years except a mixed 7-period day or a mixed block schedule. So I've been on a 7-period day, I've been on a block, and just about everything in between. I like 5 exercises. I use an interval timer. If you've heard me before, you've heard me talk about using the clock and staying on the clock, and how a 40-second clock works best for us to simulate our play clock in football. And I have plenty of other things to relate football to the weight room. Our big lifts are on Monday, Wednesday, Friday with 4 cores. We have supersets that go with our strength exercises. So when we're squatting and benching, we're doing supersets, and then we do a big finisher. I change the complexes and the supersets every block. So every 4 weeks, I'm going to change it up. That helps our guys not get bored with training, and it helps me address the problems that I see in our program. So if we're not finishing the pull, we're going to do more pulls. If we're not pulling under the bar fast enough, we're going to do more lifts from the high hang. If everything's great with our technique, but we're getting stuck in the bottom and standing up with a clean, we're going to do more strength work with our front squats. Right? On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do our run and jump testing, and then we do something that I've talked about before. A lot of people across the state have used my clean 20s, where we're doing 20 singles on the clock. Got lots of variations about that. If you are interested in that or want to know more about that, you can shoot me an email, and I'll send you some stuff on that. All right. I want to drive home a competitive culture. You know, Tony Holler, Feed the Cats, has made it popular of record, rank, and publish. So what do we record, rank, and publish at Colquitt? We do a 1-rep clean, a 3-rep front squat, and a 5-rep bench press. And right away, you may be saying, why do you do that? Well, several reasons. Number one, the only reason we do a 1-rep clean is because clean is the most technical thing we do, which means it requires the most nervous system, right? And so we are going to do a 1-rep clean. We're not going to do more. We're not going to max out on more than 1 rep. I've done that before. I've settled on 1 rep because I think it's the best thing to do. We do a 3-rep front squat. If you can front squat a weight for 3, then you should be able to clean it. So I use that to help evaluate where our guys are. Most of the time, our front squat is our 3-rep front squat is much higher than our 1-rep clean. So we really got to focus on the clean. When those 2 numbers are the same, it's when I need to push the strength more. And that usually comes in year 2. All right. After year 2, which we're in the start of year 2 for me at Colquitt. All right. And so right now we're still driving home technical efficiency. All right. The 5-rep bench press, everybody wants to 1-rep bench. And this is just one of my things that I like to do in football. How often do we just do something one time? So we're looking for 5 reps. I will do a 3-rep front squat predictor, a max predictor. I use 110% for a 3-rep front squat to project a 1-rep front squat max. And I use 115% to project a 1-rep bench press max. And you'd be surprised at how accurate those are. We also have made a big deal, especially now this year on our 40-yard sprint, 10-yard starts. We do a flying 10 with a 20-yard lead in, pro agility, vertical jump, and broad jump. I use the dasher system, the laser system, to time all of those runs. I use the plyo mat. Even though I've used the just jump mat for years, I use the plyo mat for my vertical jump, and then just a normal tape measure for our broad jump. And we will test those things weekly. All right. We will rank that at the end of the week. Here is an example of our top 11 right now. And some of you may think, hey, that's not very good. And you're right. Okay. these are our top 11 right now. Our top guy is our nose, Amari Wilson, who's a sophomore. He racked 315 and couldn't stand up with it. My bet is this week he'll get 315, and then Landon Thomas is right there, number one tight end in the 2024 class, committed to Georgia, right? This is our top 11. Now, here's a concept that anytime you start doing numbers like this, I want to make sure that I share. It's called the 80-20 rule, right? Your top 10%, which is basically going to be these top 11, depending on how many numbers you deal with, they're going to be pretty good no matter what. And you need them to be good because those are your best guys. That bottom 10%, those guys are going to probably not be very good because they don't have genetics or they're not athletically gifted. But your goal is still to try to pull them up. You are going to win football games by the 80% and how high you can get that 80%. That's why I put these team totals over here on the side. So you can see right now we have 7 over 275, 14 over 250. These are just of the rising 10, 11, 12 that I'm testing, right? And then we have 45 guys at 225 or more and 65 at 205 or more. My goal for this team is to have 80 guys clean over 225 before we play our first game and to have 15 to 20 guys over 300, right? And I'm using these numbers to project that and to give these guys something to shoot for. So that's our clean numbers as of January 2023, right? These vertical numbers should give you a hint. I believe the vertical jump's the number one predictor of athletic ability, right? And you can see we're pretty explosive. This is the most explosive I've ever had. Our top 11 is 34 plus, right? We have 44 guys over 30. That's kind of, so the 225 for clean, for vertical, it's really 30 inches, right? So I'm going to try to drive that number. I'm looking for 50 or 60 guys to be able to jump. You can see we got 57 guys right now at 28 plus. I'm looking for 55 or 60 guys to jump over 30 inches. And then these numbers, of course, to get higher. So that I post that in the weight room. We just got a big 86-inch TV there for everybody to see. And it's on a slideshow of everything we test, trying to motivate these guys to be competitive, to make themselves better, compete with their teammates, and try to get into that top 11, right? The last thing, this is my email. This is my personal email, stan.luttrell@gmail, and that's my cell phone, 706-897-8442. I'm honored if you reach out to me for me to be able to talk to you or share anything that I do with you. I've had multiple conversations through the years with coaches all over. And now that I'm considered one of the old guys, I really feel like it's one way that I can leave a legacy in this coaching profession. So if you have any questions, email me, call me, and I look forward to meeting you. Hopefully you'll get something out of this. If you have any questions out of this, again, just let me know. Be glad to talk about it.
Coach, that was great, man. I'm not really saying you're old. You've just been doing it a while, but we're not the young guys. Let's put it that way. We're definitely not the young guys.
That's true.
That was great, Coach. I appreciate the, really bringing it down to every piece of the movement, because that's what I found with strength condition. There's guys that it's their thing. They're going to reach out. They're going to learn. They're going to be great, just like you were when you started. And then there's guys that just know what they know, and they maybe are far enough in their career, they're not really comfortable asking the questions they feel like maybe they ought to know. Is that fair to say?
For sure.
And or they think they do. And so I think power clean or just the clean in general is such an important piece of the game, but also it can be a difficult thing to teach. And so I think it intimidates some guys that maybe aren't. I think you hit on some stuff that maybe guys that aren't as familiar will be able to help, but also the guys that are pretty advanced and already love it, they're going to be able to pick up some things they can add to. So I thought that was great. So, and Coach Luttrell means it. Reach out to them, guys. If you listen to this and you got any questions, reach out. And I really appreciate you taking some time to do this, man. I know you're busy, and it means a lot to me personally that you took some time to go through all that. That was great.
Well, the bottom line is Parker Resources is giving back to the coaches, and I am just honored to be a part of it. We listen to your podcast every week. I love hearing from the other coaches in the state, and I'm proud to say I'm a Georgia football coach.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Coach. If I can ever help you guys out, let me know. I get to Moultrie one day. I'll come see you.
Please do.
Take care.